Hi, it's been a while again. I'm not going to make this update video as long as my last one. I don't really need to make you guys sit through another, you know, hours long video just to listen about all the problems that's been going on in my, my life for the past 3 years. And if you're a new viewer who has stumbled upon this channel again and have no idea what I'm talking about and want, kind of a general gist of what's been going on, although, a little warning, I'd say even that TLDR is quite long. I try my best to summarize, 2 hours into like something readable, basically. But what I will say is everything that I did talk about in my last update video that was like 2 hours long hasn't gotten any better. As for the most part, a lot of it's actually gotten much worse. Specifically, in May, it got really bad. I'll get to that pretty soon here, but just as a little update, I guess. Things haven't been going great. But like I said, I'm not really here to give you a whole gist of what's been going on, even over the past couple months, or at least not into super detail. I'm here to talk about two things: cancer and consecration. So, for those of you who don't know, or who haven't read the description yet, or just haven't been keeping up with my update videos, my mother has been battling stage 4 breast cancer for nearly 8 years, and she's doing okay. But as you guys know, with the nature of cancer, she has been getting slower. And on top of that, she's been going through multiple eye surgeries to help fix her vision. And just the last 3 months, she's been gone through, I think, 2 or 3. So, and on top of like her usual cancer treatment, so it's been a lot. She's been going through a lot. And not too long ago, we've had a pretty big health scare with her. I'm not gonna go too into detail about it in this video, but the aftermath really got me mentally. Couldn't really sleep. Already as much as I can't sleep. With my sleep schedule being horrendous. Like right now, it's 4 a.m. So probably why I'm not as loud on camera. But that whole health scare was it's really bad. It's really bad. She's fine now, but when it happened, it wasn't good for the mental. And on top of that, I was also still dealing with our housing situation, because trying to figure out our housing situation, because we basically needed to move out by the end of May, which would have been fine. But just like how I mentioned in my last update, my mom is very against moving, which makes things very complicated. And it got to a point where we were in the last week of May and we had not found a place to live, and we had not even started packing. And I was told by my landlord that we had till early June to be out. So that was like another layer of just stress of that month. But on that week of where we did need to find a place to move out, my dad had gotten back from his yearly health checkup, and he had tested positive for colon cancer. So, on top of, my mom going through a bunch of the surgeries and the health scare we had, finding a place to live and being unable to, and then on the final week of when we had to move out, my dad getting the results that he tested positive for colon cancer, it was, it's not a good month. Not a good one for sure. And all of this basically leads to the topic of consecration and my decision for it. Now, if I'm going to be honest, I was going to step away from consecration indefinitely. I came back after being gone for so long, and just to do it all again for 6 months, how unacceptable is that, right? Like, it's not fair to you guys. It's ridiculous. And I was just kind of accepting the fact that I just couldn't do it. I just, with everything just being more and more out of control with my life, I just being unable to push through that consecration was so hard to just push out. I don't know. It seems easy, and you know what? It probably is compared to like a normal 9-to-5 job. Not going to sugarcoat it, but just with everything kind of going on, I was kind of ready just to throw it away for now. And I had a conversation with the parents, not too long ago about going back to school because they insisted that with how my content creation was going, which clearly it's not, they insist that it would probably be better if I go back to school and find work. And initially I was very against it, but the more I thought about it, our financial situation was dire, and it still is, but it would give me a sense of direction again, some level of control as well, something that I've been lacking for I don't even know how many years. But after my dad had tested positive for colon cancer, the scare of our housing, on top of my my mother's health and her mental state, how she is, I don't know if it's the correct decision still, but in my head, and I could be very wrong, really the only thing I have that is truly in my control is content creation. And it's pretty hypocritical for me to say that because I haven't uploaded again in 6 months when I said I would be back, and now I'm here saying that it's something that I control, but it is truly one of the only things that I control in my life. With both my parents being very sick and no sort of pension plan or 401k, whatever it's called in the US, they don't have any of that. In fact, their taxes are a mess. So if they want to survive for the next X amount of years, I basically am going to have to provide that for them. And I know a lot of people who are watching these videos and, not in bad faith, mostly just for my sake, would say, just walk away from it. You don't have to make it your problem. But there are, a few people that I owe everything to. My parents, my lifelong friends that I've met in elementary, junior high, high school, and you guys. And I know you guys want what's best for me, but at the same time, it's hard to step away from, the people you care about the most. And so maybe it is the right decision to step away from content creation completely. Go back to school, find some work, do both, whatever. But at the same time, I feel like there is an obligation I have, and I also just love content creation, to give back to you guys. That doesn't mean that I'm probably not going to have to find work. To be completely honest, I'm probably going to have to do both content creation and work. Regardless, I'm not going to step away from content creation. But I'm definitely going to treat it as a hobby again, which sounds kind of counterintuitive because, I kind of need this to be my living. But at the same time, I feel like just mentally knowing that this is how I'm going to have to support my family and my future, I've already got a lot on my mind. So I feel like if I can just find other ways to deal with it mentally, it's better, if that makes any sense. So with that being said, I am going to upload for real this time on this channel, at least once a week. That is the goal. It's not a crazy big goal, and I probably should make a better one, but I'd like to ease myself back into things. And on top of that, I am going to keep streaming for real this time. I will try to stick to a schedule, which will most likely be Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, which was, my schedule from the very beginning. But I'm not saying I'm only going to stream 3 times a week, but I will at least stream 3 times a week. Every other time, probably be, random time. But Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, I will try to be consistent on when I stream. So there's that. But for YouTube, again, to ease myself back into making videos. A lot of you probably don't even remember this or know this, but I actually did a subathon 2 years ago. And during that subathon, I had actually made 2.5 videos, technically, that I planned to upload, obviously that year, which didn't happen. But I did actually edit 2 videos at the very minimum that are for the most part done. I just never released them because, I felt like they didn't fit with the channel. I didn't know how people would react if I uploaded them. So I just ended up not uploading them. But the thing is those 2 videos, I actually probably had one of the most fun editing. They weren't crazy videos, but I enjoyed them through and through. One of them is when I tried Honkai Star for the first time, which was, I think it like basically just came out. I think it was like a month later or something. And I had tried, the game, which I still play, by the way. And the other one was Only Up, if you guys remember that game. That was a big part of my subathon at the time because it took up so much time. And again, these are such late videos, but I love them. So on Thursday, I will be uploading one of those videos. I don't know which one just yet, but I'm going to be uploading one of those videos for this week. And then on Saturday, I will be streaming again. I don't know again exactly what I'm going to be streaming. I'll probably stream Osu just for a bit again, but it could be anything. I'm probably going to stream Maple Story if you're unhappy with that. It's a return stream. I don't know. I'll stream anything. But from that point on, the week after that, I will be releasing one of the other 2 videos I said. And then from there on, I'll be following my streaming schedule, my upload schedule, and hopefully things go from there. With all that being said, I do have a couple of people asking me if I will ever go to TwitchCon, specifically this year. And to be completely honest, probably not. Probably not. With my financial situation being pretty dire, I don't know when I will be able to travel. I'm not saying it's impossible this year, but the answer is most likely no. Unless I can figure out like our financial situation, that's kind of just up in the air, unfortunately. But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully this wasn't too long. If you guys do really want to know what's been going on, then I'm more than happy to talk about it on Twitch. Just feel free to ask. I don't mind talking about it there, but I'm not going to sit here and give you guys another 3-hour ramble or whatever. But again, sorry for taking so long. And as always, seriously, it truly does amaze me how many of you still stick around even after all this. It's truly undeserving to have the support you guys give me, but I will forever be grateful and can't say thank you enough. But hopefully this time I'll stick around for a little longer. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon.